a man steps out of his house and throws away a bag of leftovers. By coincidence, it hits a stray dog on the head that had been suffering from chronic hunger for long-term starvation. Watching the man walk away, the dog thinks it was an act of kindness. He immediately starts devouring the food. From that day on, no matter where the man goes, the husky follows him closely from a distance, as if he has already decided that this man is his owner. The scene leaves the man completely speechless. Trying to get rid of this clingy follower, he has no choice but to speed up his pace. But the very next second, a miserable dog cry echoes from behind. Unexpectedly, the husky runs across the road and gets into a traffic accident. When the man turns back, the dog is already lying in a pool of blood. The crowd starts blaming the stray dog for crossing the road without looking at the traffic signal. Only one girl stands there, staring at the dying husky with deep concern. Just as everyone is about to call the dog catcher, the man rides his motorcycle and stops in the middle of the road. He carefully picks up the husky and prepares to rush to the hospital. Under the stunned gaze of the onlookers, he speeds away. The veterinarian says, "It was fortunate the dog was brought in on time. That's how the husky narrowly survives." But when the vet asks the man to take the husky with him, he refuses because this is a stray dog. With no other option, the vet agrees to temporarily foster the husky at the man's home, and once someone adopts him, the dog will be sent away. However, because dogs are not allowed in the man's residential community, he wraps the husky tightly in a blanket and secretly carries him home. But just as he steps inside, stray dogs barked incessantly all night, making it impossible for the man to rest. It was only when daylight came that he could finally fall into a deep sleep. Once awake, he began relieving himself anywhere inside the house. Over time, the man frequently dozed off at work. Facing his Siberian husky, who was frantically destroying the house, he felt mentally exhausted. Taking the opportunity of an outdoor walk one day, he prepared to abandon it. However, the moment he stepped through the door, the husky was picked up and brought back by a kind-hearted girl. A few days later, unable to bear it any longer, the man went to the vet again. He forced them to quickly help find an adoptive family. On this day, because the husky had destroyed the sofa again, the man was chasing it in a fit of rage. Unexpectedly, a potential adopter showed up at the door. Seeing such a chaotic scene, they immediately turned around and left. Meanwhile, the neighbors, unable to stand the constant barking, began accusing him of disturbing the order of the community. In desperation, the man decided to get a dog license for the pet first. The next day, Xiao Mei from the Animal Association paid a visit, but the husky's terrible behavior scared everyone away. In a moment of extreme agitation, the man suddenly collapsed to the ground. Seeing this, the husky was also startled and quickly began performing CPR. Although the man was rushed to the ambulance in time, the husky couldn't stop worrying. It followed the vehicle all the way to the hospital. To stop the man from smoking, the husky crushed all of his Huazi cigarettes. From then on, the man and the dog lived in peace. The man even bought the husky its favorite ice cream. But before the dog could take a single bite, a new adoptive family arrived at the door. The children liked the husky very much and took it away immediately. Looking at the husky's pitiful eyes, the man's heart was suddenly filled with mixed emotions. Not long after the husky left, the man returned to a single life. He lost all spirit, even at work. He eventually made up his mind to bring the dog back. By the time he arrived at the adoptive family's home with a stomach full of excuses, he found the inside of the house in a total mess because of the husky. Then, with one big leap, the husky pounced into his arms. From that point on, the man's life was revitalized. But just when he thought he could live happily ever after with the dog, like every other day, when he returned home, he saw that his playful friend Husky did not come to welcome him. Seeing vomit on the floor, he panicked and immediately took him to the doctor. But after seeing the report, the ground slipped from under his feet. Husky had cancer. The doctor said there was very little time left. To fulfill his friend's last wish, he decided that he would take Husky on a trip around the whole world. He converted his bike into a three-wheeler and set out on a memorable journey. Just then, a phone call came. It was revealed that the cause of Husky's illness was the abuse he suffered in his childhood. Writhing in anger, he tracked down those monsters who had imprisoned hundreds of dogs. He taught them a lesson, buried them in the ground, and called the police. Justice was served. The journey was not easy. When hotels refused entry to the dog, he pretended to be a blind man so that Husky could enter as a guide dog. But they were caught and had to spend the night on the street. The trouble grew when, while chasing a rat, Husky pulled down an entire advertisement board and stopped right in front of a police station. Both were jailed, but Devika came and got them out on bail. The journey continued, but Husky's hair started falling out. The illness was worsening. The money ran out. The bike had to be sold. They traveled by bus, and due to a military block on the way, they had to sleep in a tent. The next morning, Husky was missing. He began searching for him like a madman. Outside an old hut, Husky was lying peacefully. He was just waiting for his owner one last time. Husky said goodbye to the world, but while leaving, Husky left behind his small puppy so that his owner would never feel lonely. Humans can change, but dogs are always the best friends.